Reports are that Joe Gibbs Racing may be closing in on a sponsor for Kyle Busch, and Trackhouse announces a third car, a part-time car, for international drivers from other racing disciplines. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Busy week of NASCAR news. We'll talk Kyle Busch in just a moment. There's an article posted today that featured quotes from Joe Gibbs. He sounds confident that the team will re-sign Kyle Busch. And we also have a hint, at least, of what one of Kyle Busch's new potential sponsors may be. We'll get to that in just a moment, but I want to kick this episode off by reacting to an announcement made by Trackhouse today. This morning, Trackhouse announced they will field a third car on a part-time basis this year, and they're planning to reserve that seat for international drivers who come from other racing disciplines who maybe want to give NASCAR a try. They're calling this effort Project 91. In their hype video they posted today, they call Project 91 the NASCAR destination for the greatest drivers in the world from all disciplines. They didn't announce any drivers today. They didn't announce how many races they're going to run this year or when or where their first race will be. They did say they'll announce some of that, including who their first driver will be, by this weekend, so sometime later this week, I assume. But no further details have been given. This is an interesting project, once again coming from the most interesting team in NASCAR. I like the idea of fielding a competitive car for international racing superstars to compete in. Look, NASCAR's its own beast. I don't expect any of the best drivers in the world to just show up and run fifth at Bristol. But from a marketing and branding perspective, this is great for NASCAR because it may bring some international attention their way. And then from Trackhouse's perspective, this markets Trackhouse as a big international motorsports brand, perhaps even beyond NASCAR if they ever have even larger aspirations. Not to mention, of course, the team is co-owned by Pitbull. He calls himself Mr. Worldwide. So it all fits very naturally together, I'd say. There aren't many specifics to react to yet, but the concept is solid. Leave a comment down below. Is there a driver that you would like to see race that car? And what track specifically would you want to see them compete at? I think just about anyone in the motorsports world could show up to Daytona or Talladega and maybe even Atlanta and at least be somewhat competitive, stay in the lead draft. Drivers who come from sports cars or have endurance racing backgrounds, I think could step behind the wheel at road courses and possibly be competitive. I doubt we'll get any active F1 superstars racing in NASCAR in the near future, but hey, maybe a guy like Daniel Ricciardo. He grew up a Dale Earnhardt fan. Wouldn't rule anything out. Point is, this is a competitive ride. Trackhouse has been one of the best teams in the sport this year. Justin Marks always forward thinking. I love what he's done with that team, and I love how they continue to progress. So this is a great idea, and I think Trackhouse is probably the best team to see this idea through. I mean, they already have one international driver on their team. Daniel Suarez comes from Mexico. So again, it all fits. We'll get more details on that hopefully fairly soon. Let's talk silly season for just a bit. A little Kyle Busch update because the Kyle Busch ball has been rolling quickly. Over the past month or so, this Kyle Busch story has taken a number of turns. At first, Kyle Busch sounded a little unsure of his future, saying things like, "I wish I had a deal done yesterday." Then recently, Toyota came out and said it would be unacceptable to lose Kyle Busch. Joe Gibbs all along has sounded cautiously optimistic. Well, last week, Adam Stern from Sports Business Journal posted an article, and in it, he reported a couple key details that have progressed this story further. Firstly, and he tweeted this, Joe Gibbs Racing has hired JTG Doherty Racing owner Tad Geschichter's marketing agency to help sell sponsorship. And he notes how unique it is to have a company tied to Chevy working with a Toyota team. Now, this marketing agency is called Brand Activation Maximizer, or BAM for short. And Stern notes that Geschichter, I hope I'm saying that right, has long had a relationship with the Gibbs family, and his team, JTG Doherty Racing, has sold out of sponsorship this year thanks to Kroger's huge investment. So those two factors, as well as maybe others, have allowed this arrangement to be possible. That news came out just a few days ago, so it's probably a recent development. Now, in that same Adam Stern article, he writes that maybe Joe Gibbs Racing has found at least one sponsor for Kyle Busch. He writes, JGR is said to be in advanced discussions with a major technology company for a one-year deal for the number 18 car for next year, but an agreement is yet to be announced. It's the timing of these reports that's interesting, because this news that Joe Gibbs Racing may be close to signing a one-year deal with a major sponsor is in the same article as the news that they had to hire somebody from JTG Doherty, or a company affiliated with JTG Doherty, to help them find sponsors. Now, Obviously that brand, that BAM company might be helping them find sponsorship for the 11, the 19, the 20, or their Xfinity team. But the timing is interesting. A major technology brand probably has a decent amount of money they could spend on advertising, but a one-year deal, I don't know, to me sounds more like an associate deal where maybe they run a few primaries next year. Stern wrote in this article that M&M's leaving leaves about a $20 to $25 million gap that Joe Gibbs Racing needs to try and fill in for next year. So I don't know if this major technology company is going to bring that kind of cash. Either way, there's reasons to be optimistic, because today there's an article in the Charlotte Observer featuring several quotes from Joe Gibbs where he expressed confidence in re-signing Kyle Busch, saying, "We're really confident that we're going to have that number 18 car squared away sponsorship-wise, and we're trying to work on our deal right now with Kyle. So I think we feel good about it." Gibbs has been saying basically the same thing for, weeks now, that he's confident, but that nothing is actually done yet. This is the first time I think I've heard him mention the sponsorship side of things, and as he says, having that squared up, or at least he thinks they're going to have that squared away. So that is an encouraging sign. If you're a Kyle Busch fan, you want to see him remain with Joe Gibbs Racing, which I imagine every Kyle Busch fan in existence does. But let's say, hypothetically, that everything changes. The wind switches direction, an asteroid comes crashing to Earth, and suddenly Kyle Busch is not with Joe Gibbs Racing next year. A lot of people would look at Ty Gibbs in the Xfinity Series as the logical replacement, even though he is still young, maybe it's a little quick. Well, Joe Gibbs in this Charlotte Observer article addressed Ty Gibbs's progression, saying, "We want to be real careful, take our time. And so really, our goal was to keep him in Xfinity for 2 years, and so this is his first year, really. I think he's had 23 or 24 Xfinity races, so the game plan is 2 years for sure in Xfinity. Make sure we don't rush him." Obviously plans can change, but it sounds like Joe Gibbs has a plan for Ty Gibbs, and that also, to me, makes it sound like Kyle Busch staying in the 18 car is close to becoming a true reality. So I'll leave the Kyle Busch news there. Every time we talk about Kyle Busch, I'll give you guys my updated prediction. I still believe he stays with Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota through at least next season. I wouldn't be shocked if they sign a 2, 3, or 4-year deal, but 1 year at bare minimum, I think Kyle Busch will stay with the team. I just think Toyota has way too much invested in Kyle Busch to let him go. Obviously, if they can't meet Kyle Busch's high salary, he could choose to walk away. This is a negotiation that goes both ways. It's not one side or the other making the decision. They have to come to a mutual agreement. So if they can't land a big sponsor to make up that gap, and Kyle Busch wouldn't be getting paid what he wants to get paid, then maybe both sides would split up. But like I've said multiple times now, at least both sides basically want the same thing. Kyle Busch wants to race for Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing at a similar price to what he's been getting paid, and Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing would love to hire Kyle Busch at that price as long as they can find sponsorship for him. So it's all about that sponsorship search. That is the key deciding factor in all of this. I see a lot of comments from people that say, wow, if Kyle Busch can't land a ride for next year, what does that tell us about the state of the sport? We got to keep in mind that Kyle Busch is perhaps the most expensive driver in the NASCAR Cup Series. And he's now officially reached the second half of his career. I think he's still very much a great, great driver, one of the top 2 or 3 in the sport right now. But he's 37 years old, and he's won 4 races in the past 2.5 years. It's hard to justify being the highest paid driver when you're getting older, and maybe the results have slipped just a little. If Kyle Busch was willing to race for Ross Chastain money, I think that contract would already be signed. But he's Kyle Busch. He's used to getting paid a certain way, and I think largely he still deserves to be paid a certain way. But to pay someone that much, you gotta have a major sponsor. Just like David Wilson from Toyota Racing Development said last week. Every driver's salary is pretty much dependent on what kind of sponsor they have on the hood that week. Or that season. So it all comes down to sponsorship. That's just something to keep in mind when talking Kyle Busch. He's great, yes, but he's really, really expensive. Anyway, share your thoughts down in the comment section below. We'll be back here again probably tomorrow. Got some other interesting stuff I want to talk about. And I'm working on my vlog from Texas this past weekend. I brought my friend to his first ever NASCAR race. I'm really excited for you guys to see his reaction to seeing everything for the first time. It was a lot of fun filming that with him, and I'm working on editing it right now. In the meantime, if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We talk NASCAR news, rumors, predictions, race recaps, and much more every single day here on this channel. And as always, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters as well. I really appreciate your support. We'll be back again soon. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, y'all.